Hello, everybody. It is the Popper J back at it again with another Pioneer deck tech. And this Pioneer deck is the Waste Rack, based on the modern deck 8 Rack. And although we do not have the rack legal in the format, because we start with Return to Ravnica, or we're in that area, we get Shrieking Affliction, which is the 5th through 8th rack in the deck called 8 rack. And as well as that, we get Waste Not. And Waste Not is the waste part of it. So Waste Not is for 2 mana whenever an opponent discards a creature card to create a 2/2 zombie. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, add 2 mana to your mana pool. Whenever an opponent discards a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. So once you are just discarding their hands, this becomes a value engine. Let's say you discard 2 of their cards with a spell like Arterial Flow, and they discard a creature and a non-creature spell, like and you end up making a 2/2 and drawing a card. If Waste Not said 2 mana for a 2/2 zombie that says draw a card, would play it. So that's already okay right there. There's just so many ways it would be valuable, and later in the game it gets better and better and better. And because it's an enchantment, it's harder to get rid of, so in the late game it has a lot of value. Um, let's after that we'll go into the creatures. So Asylum Visitor is a 2 mana 3/1, and at the beginning of each player's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, you draw a card and lose a life. Because we're discarding their hands and it says each player, that means it's basically a bob on their turn when they have no hand size, which would just take us farther in the game. It's 2 mana 3/1. It has a madness cost. We have a couple spells in the deck that we can discard our own cards, meaning we can pay the madness cost and get extra value. Kalidas, Traitor of Ghet is a 4 mana 3/4 with lifelink, and if a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile that card and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. And then for 3, you may sacrifice another vampire or zombie and put 2+1/+1 counters on Kalidas, Traitor of Ghet. Planeswalkers, we have Davriel, Road, Shadowmage, a 3 mana, 3 loyalty Planeswalker that is static is at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. If that player has 1 or fewer cards in hand, it deals 2 damage to him. So it's kind of like a rack or the Shrieking Afflictions. And as a neg 1, target player discards a card. So it comes down, it discards one of the cards, and then once they're at that low hand size, it starts dealing damage to them. It's pretty good. It's consistent discard. Over a course of a game, it discards 3 cards. It's pretty good. It's 3 mana, so it has to be for this kind of competitive format. Then there's Liliana, the Last Hope. This card is amazing. So it's +1, gives target creature up to 1 target creature -2/-1 until end of turn. So it's a removal spell at the first part. And then its neg 2 is put the top 2 cards of your library into the graveyard. Then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. We only run 5 creatures. One of them might die or be discarded. Then we can get it back again, and there we go, if we don't need to do any of that. And then its -7 as its ultimate is you get an emblem with at the beginning of your end step, create X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens under your control, where X is 2 plus the number of 2, which is X is 2 plus the number of zombies you control. So let's say you have no zombies, it'll make 2 zombies. Let's say you have 2 zombies, it'll make 4 zombies. If you have 4 zombies, it will make 6 zombies, or yeah, it'll make 6 zombies if you have only 4 zombies. It's pretty good. Its ultimate will slowly win you the game, but what we're focused on is the fact that it has a removal spell, it can recur stuff, and it has to be taken care of because once it ultimates, you basically win the game. We run 2 Fatal Pushes. Like I've said before, this is just a really good removal spell. At first, it will just kill like things like Birds of Paradise and things like Land of Werewolves, and then when you revolt it, it kills almost everything in the format, respectively. Then we go on to Thoughtseize. 1 mana, it looks at their hand. You may take a non-land card from it, and they lose 2 life, or you lose 2 life. And it's worth it because you can stop yourself from getting Thoughtseized. You can stop them from playing their next card in the next turn while they kept the hand. This can just win you the game, honestly. They can keep a hand that only has 1 drop that we're going to play. You take it from the hand. There you go. Collective Brutality. For 2 mana, it has an escalate cost of discarding a card, and it says choose 1 or more. And when you escalate, you have to discard a card, and you choose more than 1, 2, and 3. But target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an instant or sorcery card from it, or you can give target creature -2/-2 until end of turn, or target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. You can escalate if you play this and discard 2 cards. You can do all the modes, so you can kill a creature, gain some life, they lose their life, and then you take a card from the hand. It's really good. If you're playing against an aggro deck, this will just cut them out of the game. You can kill the threat on the board. You can take a burn spell from the hand, and then you can gain some life. Liliana's Triumph is freaking amazing because if you have Liliana as the last hope, they sacrifice a creature and they discard a card. And if they don't, it's each opponent sacrifices a creature. So it's just a kill spell right there. Usually they're only going to have 1 creature on the board because we're already hitting all their stuff. This is going to keep them way far away from killing us, and that is kind of the point of the deck, so we can get them to have no hand size. Arterial Flow is for 3 mana, each opponent discards 2 cards. If you control a vampire, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So again, against aggro matchups, this will just take them out of the game. They'll lose their ability to kill you, plus you'll gain some life. It'll put you way out of reach. It's really good. Dark Deal. Each player discards all the cards in his or her hand, then draws that many cards -1. That counts as them discarding their whole hand. So let's say if they have 5 cards in hand, every single one of them will trigger a waste knot. You can run that back each and every time, and they can end up drawing a really bad hand as well. So they can just win you the game right there. We've already covered Shrieking Affliction, and we've already covered Waste Knot. So we can get to the lands, which is only 2 Castle Locthwain. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp, and then it can tap for black. But for 3 mana, you draw a card and then lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Just in case you're running to where you need to keep them empty-handed and you're at the point where they're already there and you need to start getting stuff in your hand so you can keep them empty-handed. This card is just really good for that. And then we got our swamps, and that's basically it. We run 23 lands. Our highest cost in the deck is 4 mana, and it's only 2 of those. So sometimes we'll end up with it stuck in our hand, but with 23 lands, we're almost guaranteed to be able to play everything else. If we get mana flooded, we have multiple ways of discarding our cards, like Dark Deal will let us cycle all the way through, and Collective Brutality will allow us just to discard the land card and use it for value. Yeah, and there's just so much card advantage in the deck with the fact that card advantage isn't just drawing more cards than your opponent, it's making them have less cards than you. So Liliana's Triumph, if you can kill one of the creatures and have them discard a card, that is freaking amazing. And then you also get to pick which creature they sacrifice basically due to the fact that if you already have Liliana the Last Hope out, you probably just killed their smallest creature and now they have to sacrifice the biggest creature. With this deck, it's almost impossible for them to keep a board, and this is why we are placing Asylum Visitors, Kalidas, and Waste Not creatures onto the battlefield. So we're going to be applying pressure while just taking everything they got away. This has been the Popper J MTG. If you're new to the channel and you're just realizing that I'm producing this Pioneer content that's really bad quality, but it's okay, go ahead, hit the subscription button. I'll be posting way more content like this. I've already done Slivers and I've already done Vampires for the format. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.